and action. Welcome to Movie News. A lot of news on tap for today, so we'll get right into it. The first major story that we're going to talk about on December 11th, Andre Braugher passed away. You may know him from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, one of his more recent roles that made him famous, what people know him for. He was the captain. His main show that where most people know him from, got his major start, was Homicide. And then he also did the movie City of Angels, which is Pete's favorite and how Pete mainly knows him.
Yeah, this is devastating news. I didn't know about it. You told me about it last night, and he is just one of these guys that when he talks, he just warms your heart. And no matter what role that he did, and in City of Angels, which is a sneaky good movie, it's a very underrated movie. He plays a small role, but he plays Nicolas Cage's sort of angel sidekick, and he's just a powerful person, and he will be missed. What a shame.
Yeah, and he was only 61. I mean, that's not old at all. They obviously don't know a sign of death, but it was pretty shocking for everybody. So rest in peace, Andre Braugher. Other news, this actually happened in November, but I just found this out. So I wanted to communicate because I feel like we're both fans of the franchise, but Creed 4 is officially in development with Michael B. Jordan on tap to both star and direct again. And so
Great news.
Yeah, I think that's great news. Like I said, I thought they've all been great films, and apparently they have a really great script that they love. I'm assuming, Michael B. Jordan wouldn't do it if this story didn't continue to develop. So gonna be interesting.
As for his directorial debut on 3, and
Yeah.
great job.
I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with this. So yeah, but definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
The other major news, which also came out this week, is Warner Brothers and Paramount are in discussion to possibly merge. Now, there's a lot of things that happen when two major studios like this merge. There's a lot of red tape and whatnot that needs to get done in order for it to happen. So nothing is for sure a done deal. But Pete, what are your thoughts if it happens? What can you see?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to unpack with something like this, and because it's still speculation, right? But I mean, if you imagine Paramount Plus merging together with HBO Max, then you have to imagine that they're trying to do something with a platform that is going to compete with a Netflix or even like a Disney Plus, because Disney Plus, it's not just Disney movies, it's got a whole bunch of stuff on there. It's just called
Also Fox. Yeah, Disney
so
also Fox.
yeah, so
The old Fox. Fox 20.
clearly the Warner Brothers is the bigger dog in that merger, right? I think they're worth a lot more than
Yeah.
Paramount is. So I would imagine that Paramount would be absorbed, which owns, I think they own Nickelodeon as well. So I mean, you're going to get a ton of content to one platform. At the end of the day, people like us and the rest of the world, it really makes no difference. Our thoughts on it. This is going to happen whether we want it to or not. But we're gonna find ourselves soon having basically 3 platforms, and then we're going to go into the future and think about getting away from cable like we did in the past, but it's going to be, let's get away from these 3 major platforms.
What I would be curious to know is if it's just the Paramount Studios. So kind of like how the Fox network sold off 20th Century Fox and just now it's 20th Century Studios.
Right.
I think my major question, I don't think anybody has the answer. I'm assuming Warner Brothers is not buying the CBS property because, like you're saying, they own Nickelodeon. They're the ones that own the Nickelodeon and all that. So which aspect of it is it? Just the Paramount movie studio, or is it again all these other networks as well? CBS,
CNN in the mix as well. So I mean,
yeah. No, no. Warner Brothers already owns CNN.
right. But then you've got all the CBS news.
Right.
Uh, you've got CNN, and so I mean, so it's not just about the movies or about the series, but there's also this other like news outlets. They got all these sports, so it's all going to have to get figured out at some point. But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah,
Who
but
knows what it's going to
definitely
do?
keep an eye on it again just to see the details and which property goes where, all that good stuff. That's going to be
Yeah,
interesting to see. So stay tuned for that.
keep an eye on that for sure.
The other major news is Jonathan Majors got
Majors.
fired from Marvel earlier this week, and he after he got convicted of domestic violence. And Jonathan Majors was, he's starting Creed 3, but for Marvel fans, he was lined up to be the major villain. He was King the Conqueror, who was in the next Avengers film. He was going to be one of the main villains, if not the main villain. Obviously, we don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but um, they don't know yet whether he's just going to get replaced, like you just see a different actor place him, or King the Conqueror is going to just be phased out and the story goes in a different direction. I've heard both. So
This is a not as big of a shame as Andre Braugher dying, but this is a big shame because this guy was so good and had so much talent and he was a rising star. I mean, this last year, what we saw him do, especially in Apollo 3 and Creed 3, is was remarkable. He was really good. And like I just foresaw just amazing thing happening for him, and he had to go and mess it all up, and
yeah,
he's paying the price for that now, and we're paying the price too because now we're deprived of this incredible actor. And
yeah.
so, what a shame. Another shame.
And I'm at least like happy that they waited till he was convicted and didn't allow due process to run its course, you know what I mean? And so, everything has consequences, just like for regular people, if you do something bad and it could affect your job, and so, yeah, it's very unfortunate, but, it's part of life. And, he wouldn't be the first person to ever get replaced in movies, actually in Marvel, what's his face got replaced after contracts broke down, and Don Cheadle took over his role.
Oh yeah.
What's
I
his face?
forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Terrence Howard was in the first Iron Man. He was like the buddy, but in the military, and then ultimately got replaced by Don Cheadle because of contracts.
But
So
people have a short memory, and if he does his time and does it properly and does his
I don't think he's supposed to get jail time. I think it's
yeah,
gonna
but if he does his apologies, if he
yeah,
goes through his thing, I don't think we've seen the last of Jonathan Majors, but I think it's going to be a little while until
yeah,
we
probably
see
like 2 years.
him again. Maybe in Creed 6 he comes back.
Yeah. There you go. And then lastly, the autopsy came in for Matthew Perry, and it was found that he died of the acute effects of ketamine. And so, ketamine, it can be prescribed, but ultimately, it's essentially a prescription drug. Because I know they said there's no illegal stuff found on site, but ultimately, it sounds like ultimately he succumbed to his addiction, which I read his book, and he really talks about the struggles and stuff that he went through. And so yeah, just tragic and unfortunate. I rewatched the whole Friends series again after he died, just to kind of have a good lasting memory of him. But yeah, it's sad stuff. And but it's a good book if you want to kind of learn more about addiction and learn more kind of what he went through. It's a very interesting read, and it definitely it helped me really understand a lot about addiction. So check it out.
Yep.
All right, let's go into the box office real quick, and then we'll talk about upcoming trailers. Wonka, of course, was the big release, and that is number one in the box office. It pulled in 39 million domestic. Well, 162 million worldwide off of a budget of 125 million. So always
Nice. Way
good
to
when
go,
you,
everyone.
yeah, always good when you make money off the first weekend. That obviously it'll keep playing a lot of new releases. So,
Mhm.
it won't make as much, but yeah, it's good. And it's a good film. Check it out. We check out our review on it if you
We love
haven't
it.
done already. So, uh, Hunger Games came in second. That's now at just under 300 million worldwide off of a budget of one. So again, solid job on that one. The other darling, Boy and the Heron, pulled in another 5.5 million. Now I've seen two different numbers. The ones I saw said 115 million worldwide, but then I saw another one that said it's over 300. So those are, but the IMDb is the one that says 115. So I usually trust them on the budget stuff.
Right.
So, and that's off a budget of 100 million. So, I didn't know it was that high, by the way. I thought the budget was much lower.
Millions. Oof.
Yeah, but it made its money at least. So, fourth is Godzilla minus one. It pulled in another 5 million for 70 million worldwide off of a budget of 15. So again, that continues to be a
Oh,
highly successful film. And
I
then
still need.
last in fifth, Trolls Band Together pulled in 3.9. It is now at 184 million worldwide off of a budget of 95. So that is again effectively in the black.
That's
So and then lastly, we're gonna cover the new trailer dropped this week, and it's The Rave, and it's right behind me, and it's Beverly Hills Cop 4. Uh,
it's exciting. And it didn't look like, and it's a trailer, so it's supposed to show you something amazing and it's supposed to entice you. But this trailer looks very, very, like I said with Wonka, it looks very respectful to the original, to the series, to the IP, and it looks funny. It's got the same crew back that you've known and love. I even saw a split second of Serge.
yeah.
So that's exciting. So they didn't shy away from, bringing anybody back. I'm curious to see if it's going to be as, it wasn't ever raunchy, but there were swear words, there was references, like innuendo, and I'm hoping that it will still be like that because I know Eddie Murphy's very much a family man, and his content reflects being a family man. It's not very risque ever, but
Mhm.
Axel Foley is a little bit more on the edge, right? So I'm hoping that they keep that character true.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it did kind of remind me of like the look of it a little bit. Looked a lot kind of like Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Mhm.
And that one was directed by Tony Scott. So it was definitely more of an action film. The first one got nominated for best screenwriting. I don't know if I forget if it won or not. I think it was just nominated. But um, kind of uncommon for an action film, quote unquote, or an action comedy even.
Right.
Um, but this was the best of the genre. And so the second one though was again Tony Scott is an action director, and it was definitely more the action was lifted, the with the bank heist and all that stuff. And so I think that's a good route for this one, especially because with everyone just being older, having a solid kind of action storyline is always good. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm hoping that will work out. So
Can't wait for that.
yeah, well, that's
Hopefully
gonna.
it comes out unlike, Young Guns 9.
It is. It's on net. It's gonna be on Netflix. So obviously it's got money behind it. So but yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us here on the Action Podcast. Stay tuned next week for another episode of Movie News. Make sure you check out. Ooh, excuse me. Make sure you check out our other podcasts that we have. Our weekly movie podcast. We'll have reviewed
El Dorado.
Ferrari. No, Ferrari that just came out,
Oh,
and then also check out our old movie classics. That is going to be we just saw Marathon Man was the last one we saw, and then upcoming is El Dorado. So make sure you check all those out. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.